Good morning, world.
Mm.
Thank you for keeping faith with us on this amazing channel, Western Spring Television. And it is right here, Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Today is the penultimate installment of the week. And we're super glad to have you join us. We're super glad to make you down here today. And then it's time to, tell you, keep you abreast of what's happening, around you and the world through the faces, through all of the headlines making the faces of the dailies this morning. I am Timitope Ajijola Oluwaola. And I know Femi has some juicy things, to tell us this morning. Update
Yeah.
on your people.
Well, the first, as we call it, juicy is the fact that we thank God for life.
Mm.
We are healed and healthy, and that counts for anything because health is wealth. Actually,
Yeah.
is when we are alive that you can be concerned about issues around you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you are not, you will be bothered by issues with you.
Right.
Actually, so. But beyond all of that, in as much Western Spring Television, where we say it as it is, that has put this program together, Morning Spring is so much concerned about all of us, about this nation called Nigeria. And of course, talking about the happenings, we now have a confirmation of the Minister of Defense designate, who has now been confirmed by the National Assembly. So he's awaiting swearing in by the commander-in-chief. That will be President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We learned the ministers, former army chief, or former chief of defense, as was at the National Assembly, and he spent close to 4 to 5 hours yesterday, and so many things happened. Actually, some of them awkwardly funny. I listened to one of those senators who asked, that the nominee be asked to take a bow, take a bow and go. And I think for the first time, Gosila Pabio, in a kind of way, impressed many of his detractors, because many persons see him as just another guy in that seat who might not really possibly be wearing the toga of previous senators who are firm and the way they do their things. That room is a room full of politicians, actually. But some would think Senator Akpabio, it's too political for that particular seat, talking about how he does his affairs. But yesterday, he stood up to say, this is not the time for us to do it. Take a bow and go, The way they say it in some accent, take a bow and move. But then it speaks to how the mind of some people work, actually. In fact, that particular senator, Senator Sani Musa, should be queried by his constituents. How can you think that way? That such an important ministry that has been bedeviled, and we are looking for somebody that will be serious, that can give us results.
Replacement.
Yeah, is being nominated, and you are supposed to fire from every cell. One thing shows in that particular place yesterday is the fact that that senator, and like many of his colleagues, they don't care. Because if actually you care, and you know that the lives of the people that you are representing matters to you, you will ask questions that are, in fact, you should be selfish with that question. If actually you can bring some of those questions home, let's say you are from Osun State, and I will ask questions that has to do with security of my people in Osun State. But instead, this particular senator said, let him be allowed to take a bow and go. Just like I said, Fabio, the senator, the president of the Senate, spoke and said, this is not the time for all of that. We are talking about things that really matter. That's the elephant in the room, the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. But, he spoke on it. I think many persons are impressed with him. Fabio was quite sharp yesterday, because I learned there was another senator who rose up to say that he hopes that the minister, the nominee, General Musa, understands the difference between the office of defense chief and the office of a minister of defense. And before the man can even land, before General Musa can even answer, Akpabio answered and said, If he doesn't know, maybe you go and teach him. It was quite a day yesterday. But I think whatever is worth, that is a very important ministry that many persons are expecting, especially the man and the experience that he's bringing to that ministry.
You're right. And yes, it was it was a show of man know what, and those who do not even know what exactly they are called to do as legislators, in the parliament. How would I put it? I'll talk about the part of the nominee, the minister nominee now. I think he was able to do justice to, he actually said what people wanted to hear. That's what I'll say. He did justice to the questions. But then the major thing on the table now is, so those things you've said, those things, it is easy to say, right. Yes. Many people can always assert, can always say, but then we want to see the actions. We want to see all of these things that you've said backed up with corresponding corresponding actions, and that would birth positive results for people. And like the Senate President rightly said, Nigerians wanted to hear him. Yeah. They needed to have gotten a hope, a ray of light that yes, this person knows what he's called to do, and he's going to get there and not put away the mandate of the people, but do the bidding of the people, and more so the commander-in-chief.
Right.
So yeah. But I'm waiting for you to get to the juicy part.
To shock you, if I may, that senator, I'm particular
about him.
It's a shame actually that I said that yesterday. I looked up where he's representing. He's representing Niger State. A bandit, terrorist infested Niger State. That's where this man is from. And he's asking the minister that is coming for screening to be, endorsed or approved for or confirmed for defense to take a bow and go. In
a sane society, his constituents will call for his for his resignation. It should
be totally recalled, because that means their lives means nothing. Niger State, not even Lagos.
You should be the one hounding the man. You should be giving him back-to-back grilling.
He should have questions prepared for him back, because all these senators have their aides.
Yeah.
Your research, how has this thing affected your people? You should have A4 paper like 5.
Yeah.
To give to the man. If it's people that will be telling you, Senator, is okay.
Give us room to ask our own.
Our question is the same man from Niger's east or so who has chosen to tell, Niger's senatorial district, that is saying, let him take a bow and go. On what ground? I don't understand. So that he can be allowed to go. All right.
That means you can afford to have another lackadaisical person in that seat. You can afford to have a person who will just go there and go to sleep. I mean, it's now I think Nigeria is beginning to see reason why people say.
Are we really?
Why people say, I'm saying, we will begin to see why people say that we need to.
Does it bother?
No, we've not seen. I don't think we've seen. We've not seen enough. We've not had this bad.
All right.
Yes. All right. Over the years.
Yeah, you keep talking about something juicy. I don't get it. Maybe you let the cat out of the bag.
All right, so the juicy story for me anyway is the able, that's the way it was captured there, able national chairman Tani Motoraki of the PDP. He joyfully, well, he wasn't looking joyful, but yes, at least to some people who have been expecting that, he revealed the expulsion certificate. Well, let me put it as it's written: certificate of expulsion of some certain members of the PDP. Well, from another faction though. And this certificate, the highlight of it is it was carefully, beautifully designed. Certificate of expulsion. All it remains is for these certain expelled entities to just frame it and put it in their offices because it's so beautiful. Right. Well, this one here that is with us is certificate of expulsion of, well, let me read it as it's written. Be it known that Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, who was once a member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, having violated Article 10, subsection 6, sections 33, subsection 1, 2, 5J. It's really a long one. And 58, 1, B, C, F, I, J, and L, and 59, subsection 1, subsection G of the PDP Constitution as amended in 2017 as hereby expelled from the party by a unanimous resolution of the delegates at the year 2025 National Convention of the PDP held on the 15th to 16th of November 2025 at Ibadan, Oyo State. It will interest you to note that there are some parts of this that are written in bold letters. They're written in caps. Resolution was written in caps. The year 2025 National Convention, that was a certain court in Abuja asked not to take place. And another court in Oyo State asked to go ahead. Yes. So that particular was written there. And the certificate of expulsion is hereby issued on 2nd day of December 2025. It was signed, of course, by the National Chairman, His Excellency, Kabiru Tani Motoraki, SAN. All right.
You seem to be very excited.
No, we need to tell Nigerians that the expulsion of that day that was just said in words has been put into writing and has been signed by the Chairman, His Excellency, Tani Motoraki. And it was also signed by His Excellency Ambassador Taufik Arakbaja, the National Secretary of the party.
Well, we will have more time for that in the course of the program. We'll look into that today. You know, some will say maybe is pettiness personified, or it's just a way of documenting, you know, something that you feel is very serious. And, you know, in that particular place where it was being announced, SAN, Tani Muturaki, the chairman of the PDP, at least this fashion said, as he was talking about those things, the certificate has been dispatched to everybody. So the rider will have delivered all of those things. And, you know, we'll look into that because of the program. But right now, the newspaper segment is next. It's very, very detailed. Stay with us. Starting with the Daily Trust today, the Daily Trust newspaper, revised cash policy, real effect. Revised cash policy, real effect. And below that, you have members of the All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria protest at the Ministry of Finance over non-payment of debts yesterday. And it's quite a sad one, actually, because I remember like a month or a few weeks ago, the House of Reps, in fact, shut down plenary because of this matter to say, why will indigenous companies who work for government not be expressly and as and when do you pay? Because you don't get to see foreign contractors complain or carry placards. That means in somewhat they are being paid as and when due. Why do we do these things to our own indigenous company? Does those companies get to stay afloat? How do they get to prosper? What happens to the people that are working there, and the ripple effect on those persons' family, and the ripple effect on, you know, the security of the nation? Because when they get hungry, they get angry, they get frustrated, they get, you know, attracted by the wrong persons, actually. And we are still talking about insecurity in the nation. Why will they work for government, either state or federal levels, and they will not be paid? That is what I don't understand. Why? Have you ever seen Julius Berger company, CCCC, Ratcon, all of those big companies carrying placards, protesting? That means they are being settled. So what becomes of the issue now is not just that they are not being paid alone. Many of them, I'm very sure, because that's why they have got it to this extreme point, are owing banks. Many of them will have used money, loans gotten from bank to execute some of those projects.
Yeah, because
and banks will have some of them will have, add their houses, they used as collateral taken from them, and they are just dry. Why? What's their offense? Because they choose to work for the government of their own country. Have you seen Indian companies complain? German companies complain? American companies that work in Nigeria complain? Why do we do this to ourselves? That's the issue. And it speaks to even some of those persons that work in those companies. You see some of these Chinese guys that you are more certificated than. What they have is the skill, which is okay. Everybody must have the skill. But because they are foreigners with the white skin, you even see the mopole of your own country, mobile policeman, guarding and beating up his own countryman just because it's a security detail to one secondary school certificated foreign national. That's what we do to ourselves. They go around and they bully people, harass people just because this mobile policeman is guarding one Chenfu from somewhere. We should do better.
Yeah.
And if you won't be supported by the country of your birth, so who should mind? Why should Americans care about you? Why should Ghanaians not make a mess of you? Because the country of your nation, they don't care. At least they have been on this matter that I'm aware of close to a month. These are the issues. And when these protests turn violent, the same policemen will be brought back to come and shoot, tear gas cannons, and the whole process is repeated just because they need their money. Yeah. That's just it.
I think that our own things do not hold value to
we
us.
We
don't care. We don't give, any concern for our own people. Yeah. And it starts at the leadership. Well, it's not even leadership level. I think it starts, at our own level.
Well, I think why you might be right. I think it starts from the place of leadership, actually.
Well, if leadership enforces it.
That's just the
enforcement.
thing. Yeah.
Then, but the attitude, it just begins with an individual, with us.
That's it.
At the lowest
when
levels.
Somebody new comes into a place, people pan towards that person. The moment the person spends some time, is another person, and then another person.
And the excuse is always we need to treat other people better because they are new. They are the foreign people in our midst, and it's always terrible. It's always a terrible explanation. We need to move from that.
Moving on, insecurity, there are gaps within armed forces. General Musa, in fact, someone will say, very good. You have been inside, Abi, and there are some things that you don't have power over because you are within the service. Now you are no more wearing khaki. Some of those things, fix them now that you have political desk to handle some of those things. Now, why only 2.5 million of 9.8 million completed voters registration? 4 killed as police youths clash in Kogi. Police and youths clash in Kogi. 4 killed. Gunmen abduct 3 students in Edo. Here we go again.
Someone was asking the CDS nominee to take a bow and go.
To take a bow and go, right. US to restrict visas for genocide supporters in Nigeria. Talk about that because of the program as well. Fulbara lawmakers at loggerheads again. It's about to become a rivers of drama again. Senate moves to tag kidnapping act of terrorism. Whatever movement they are moving, they better move quickly and responsibly. That will be all from the Daily Trust.
Well, I'll talk about that Fulbara lawmakers at loggerheads. I think that a serious parliament and a serious executive arm would never be friends. Yes. I mean, not all the time.
Well, they don't have to be enemies.
They don't have to be enemies, but you'll be at loggerheads.
Let the people just be at the center.
Yeah, you'll always be at loggerheads because you're wanting some things done in a certain way, the way you see it as the executive. But then the legislators are telling you.
And through the face of the Constitution.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the parliamentarians will see it in a different light and tell you, yes, this needs to be done, but not at this way. Yeah, not in this way or not with this kind of budget. And so all of those things will always be there. But then
you don't have to be enemy to do that.
You don't have to be.
You don't have to be enemy.
And being at loggerheads.
It's just a matter of principle.
Yeah, being at loggerheads.
Fix this, bring it back.
Yes, you don't have to smack. And that's it. We have the adage, even in our own Yoruba culture, that when 2 people enter a room, I mean, 2 siblings or so, it's because you're not telling, and you smile out, it's because you're not telling each other the truth.
Well, maybe it's the Christmas in that particular place.
Maybe it's what?
Maybe it's the Christmas.
Christmas.
You know, when two siblings agree or they go into a room during Christmas,
Yeah.
they don't have to fight, actually.
They don't
but
have
they are
to
talking
fight.
about when they have to talk about serious
issues
they might
like
frown
this. Yeah.
just because serious. But this is Christmas. Siblings doesn't have to frown.
Please do fight if it means getting us a better deal, getting the people of Rivers better deal.
Well, yeah, it has to be about. Now, the drama of the last 1 year, obviously, in River State, everybody knows it's not about the people. It's about power. It's about who controls what. Don't touch my structure. We brought in you with this structure. Whatever we say is what you will do. Oh, no, I'm a man of my own. Don't force anything on me. It has always been like that.
We cannot look at it from the same lens. For some people, it's strictly about power, wanting to retain power that you're no more entitled to.
Okay.
But from another perspective, from another party's perspective, we're talking about the players here, from the other perspective, maybe about, you're not more entitled to these. This thing belongs to the people. Allow us to designate as we deem fit. So, yes, it's still about power, but different kinds of power.
And 2 plus 2 is 4, actually.
But the process is different.
Except somebody that has not followed that story. All the sites, all the angles, everybody knows what it has been.
I don't agree with you, though.
All right. Okay. No, you don't have to agree with me. That's what we said. It's my opinion, and it's very valid.
Exactly.
Actually. So.
All right, moving on to the Punch newspaper this morning. The banner headline says, abduction crisis. NAS asked federal government to name terrorism financiers. And right here, this rider says, lawmakers demand guards for schools, worship halls. New defense minister probes Kebbi kidnap. Army general's death. Right, he said he was going to probe too. All right. We have the update. New defense minister probes Kebbi kidnap. Army general's death. And just below that, miners rejects governor's 6 months mining ban plan. Miners rejects governor's 6 months mining ban plan. That's on page 36. AMCON repays 3.6 trillion naira loan to CBN. That's on page 35. All right. Abiodun presents 1.67 trillion naira 2026 appropriation bill to Ogun Assembly. To the bottom strip, Senate questions ministers on $30 million school safety project. And that is on page 3 of Punch newspaper this morning. Page 5 says 22 Lagos PSP operators fired for underperformance. 22 Lagos PSP operators fired for underperformance. CBN ends cash deficit limits for bank customers. Page 36 of the Punch has that story. And beside the nameplate, U.S. malls visa ban over alleged Christian killings in Nigeria. U.S. malls visa bans over alleged Christian killings in Nigeria. Federal government unveils 54 trillion naira budget as debt service gulps 16 trillion naira. That's on page 35 of Punch. Voter register review begins as INEC closes registration. Page 35 has a story, and also, page 34, still the same page 34. U.S. company withdraws Nigeria's presidential jet from sale. U.S. company withdraws Nigeria's presidential jet from sale. That's on page 34. Those headlines on Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, the Nation newspaper is next. Senators, reps rise against terrorism, banditry, killings. Senators, reps rise against terrorism, banditry, killings, with riders kidnapping, terrorism to attract death penalty. With concerted efforts, we will defeat insurgency, says General Musa. And next to that, you have the picture of the budget of sustainable legacy, where Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun presented the 1.7 trillion naira 2026 appropriation bill titled Budget of Sustainable Legacy for members of the House of Assembly in Abeokuta yesterday. All right, it's the season of budget presentation actually, and for some, runs the January to December fiscal year. One might say, is this not coming too late? Because if your budget is supposed to run fiscally for January to December, and December 3 is when you are presenting that budget to the House of Assembly, what kind of work can they do? What quality of work can they do before they go on Christmas recess? Actually, so, but then there are some that will say, do you expect in true conscience, right, that you expect a state House of Assembly to really scrutinize whatever the executive has brought to them? Not because they're not supposed to do so, but because that is the political reality. Now, many of, not just in Ogun State, and I'm not even particular about Ogun State, many members of different state House of Assemblies, actually, they are prodigies of Mr. Governor. In fact, there are some states that you don't get nominated, you don't get taken as aspirant until you have your allegiance with Mr. Governor, because every governor needs that support at the House. And whatever they are bringing, you just stamp. And it is because I wouldn't know that a budget that's supposed to start running officially in another year is being submitted at the third of the outgoing year. And then you have less than 20 days for them to scrutinize. That means you will call every head of boards, chairman of boards, commissioners, chairmen to come and defend whatever they have brought. Can they do that in 20 days? And at the end of the day, you will hear that after careful consideration and scrutiny, that word at the National Assembly or at the State Assembly, they should remove it. When it comes to scrutiny, the only place you get to hear that maybe a work gets done is when a particular party is not having the majority. The party at the executive level is not having a comfortable majority at the different state House of Assemblies. That's when you hear a level of work or in which the governor is disagreeing, like what is happening in River State that we mentioned the other time. Whatever Governor Fubara brings, then we have to get extra torchlight to look at it, because everybody knew whatever is happening in that place is hot piece. Actually, it's just a moment of, a consideration of, okay, come this way, you come this way, and let's do this. But the question we will always ask, where does this leave the people? And before we say our buys at this section, by the way, take a pause rather. One important question, I think we asked that question on this program when President Tinubu was submitting the 2025 budget. How can you present a new budget without a record of the performance of the previous budget? If you understand what I'm saying. Now, you came to that particular house to say, give me this, please approve it. This is what we will need for this nation. Actually, and maybe after some time, it was approved. And the next thing is you are coming next year to come and say, please approve. What happened to the budget that we gave you? And because the issue of budget performance, for people to understand finance and fiscal responsibility, is a big deal. You can't, it's like you giving your child to approve something as the head of the house or the mom of the house, and the young person is saying, please, I need this. I say, okay, this approved. And the person is coming next time, the child is coming to come and say, please give me this. You want to ask, how about what you are given? But it seems nobody asks about budget performance in Nigeria. And so that's why corruption is part of the reasons why corruption will never cease. U.S. imposes visa restriction on violators of religious freedom and top strip. All right, away from that top strip, AMCOM pays 3.6 trillion naira for toxic asset, whatever that means. CBN raises deposit limit, withdrawal threshold, and FEC approved MTEV project 50.74 trillion naira revenue for 2026. NEC okays 100 billion naira security training rehabilitation. Right, bottom strip. Senate panel recommends clearance for ambassadorial nominees. Okay, Are Dalhatu. Clearance. Clearance is just to be recommended for them. We do too much at this National Assembly. Somebody is recommending clearance. That means don't come from scrutiny. Don't come from screening. Let them just declared. All right. We take a quick break right now. I think that's all that we have for this morning. And when we return, we speak to issues in the political space, talking about the country. We now have a Minister of Defense. The huge task before him, Nigerians, you watching us, should be laying the agenda. And in what time frame should he achieve all of these things? Knowing fully well, he, just like we said yesterday, he's not just going to back orders to people. He's a political desk. And there is another person that is going to work with Tokwe. He's called the Minister of State for Defense, a two-time governor, somebody that has been there before him. How would this synergy work? We answer all of these questions with our guests after now. Stay with us.